Hey there. So this next episode, I actually have two guests on. They both work for the same company. They've helped to build from scratch about 2 years ago, and they work on it together. They actually have a full team. Thankfully, they didn't bring more people on because I wasn't sure I was going to be able to handle two people, let alone the four people they have on their team. But we were able to do this. This is a fun episode. There was a lot of back and forth, and I really enjoyed it. I know you all will too. Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Gamerpreneur podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Bradford Carlton. Today, I have a couple of special guests for you. And so I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves. Darren, why don't you go ahead and go first?
Hi, guys. I'm Darren, CEO and co-founder of Infamy Fantasy Esports. I am 27 years old. I graduated from Rowan University in 2016 with a computer science degree. And from there, I got a job at Bank of America. And I've been working there for I want to say 5 years now. And after I get done with work, I usually hang out with the guys, play video games, and develop my company, Infamy Fantasy Esports.
Beautiful. And Jake, please.
Sure. Hey, I'm Jake. I'm the head of business development at Infamy, and I went to Emerson College. I graduated in 2015 with a degree in audio post-production. Moved out from Massachusetts to LA right after graduation to get into the audio post industry. Currently working at a localization/dubbing house. And when I'm not there, I'm either doing some freelance audio work, like Darren said, gaming with the boys, and working on Infamy. So.
Okay, so this episode is obviously going to be different than I would normally do because I got two people on, and we're going to figure out how to do this. Now, I want to throw out the name of your company. It's Infamy Fantasy Esports, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Beautiful. Okay. And so that's what we'll be talking about here in a second. But before we do that, I start every interview with a single question. So I'm going to ask both of you what I ask every other guest. So please don't feel special. And I'll start with Jake first, and then we'll go to Darren. Okay.
All right.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being high, how weird are you, Jake?
Ooh. Oh, gosh. I guess it depends on the people that you surround yourself with, because I've had some people definitely just don't fit in with them. So they'd say like, oh, hard 11. But I don't know. But I guess it's like happy that became friends with Darren and some of the other co-founders. So like, I guess be a 0. I guess still say a 3 because they're all call each other out on weird stuff we do. So
all right, right on. And Darren, how about yourself?
Give myself about a 5.
Middle of the road.
Halfway there. Catch me on a good day, maybe a 6.
That's my answer too. I love it. Okay. Now, guys, this is I guess I shouldn't assume your genders, but people.
Please don't.
People. This is the Gamerpreneur podcast. So I do need your gaming cred. When did you first start playing video games, Darren?
Oh, this goes way back. My mom actually the other day showed me a picture of me sitting on my dad's lap playing video games. I think it was Diddy Kong Racing on the Nintendo 64.
I love that one.
I go
many
way
hours
back.
into DK.
Oh yeah, the part with the level with the octopus. Never could beat that.
And Jake, you sir.
Oh man, I think it's like a tie. There's like 2 distinct memories I have. Like one, I was at my neighbor's house who was a little older, and he had one of the early Unreal tournaments. And I just remember one of the guns, you would just fire like spinning blades at people. Like for some reason that stuck in my mind. And the other one was at my cousin's house. We were playing 007 GoldenEye on the N64, and we were just having like knife fights. Or just throwing knives, all of us in like one small room, just trying to, weave in on each other.
It is incredible just how much fun that multiplayer is, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, it's still
to this day multiplayer.
It's janky to play though, having to push the R button to like aim. And
oh no, that's the best. One of our other co-founders, Blake, he's all about the jank. He'll find the most terrible character in the game, and they'll try to come for you with absolutely nothing.
Okay, so Normally I'd ask a few more questions, but because there's two of you and there's got to be a lot of bouncing back and forth I don't really need to dive too much into the game. You guys are gamers, and you have a company that has esports in the name. So I'm assuming we can move past that and actually start talking business, right?
Yeah.
So how about this? Who founded this company, Infamy Fantasy Esports?
We all came to the agreement. I thought of the idea because in college, my roommates were very big on fantasy sports in general. And when I was in college, it was around the time when I started to get into Twitch. Because I was a computer science major, I spent a lot of my time studying in my room. And in between study breaks, I would watch Twitch. I don't know how I found, Super Smash Brothers is how I would, Super Smash Brothers tournament, found Twitch that way. And ever since then, I was like, wow, fantasy sports and Twitch is this big thing. People are watching people play video games. People are watching people play tournaments. Why isn't there fantasy for this? And I presented it to the guys and we were all like, we all think it's a good idea. Let's go in on it. And that was 2 years ago.
Okay. And so how has it been going, like building this business? Like, had any of you ever had business building experience?
No, this is our first business building experience. And we have learned a lot in the past 2 years. It's definitely been a grind, but honestly, the guys have all pulled through. Like none of us, based on our backgrounds, have the business development, but we all rise to the occasion when needed and are willing to learn what we need to learn.
Okay. Now, Jake, you said your title had business development in it. So that means something different though than actually like the foundational things of building a business. So for you, what is business development?
So currently, it's kind of like overseeing and like kind of planning out our next major steps for the company before we actually get there. So we're not just like waiting around and like, oh, we're here, we can actually do something. We got to like, rush and kind of like, oh, I got to get through this as fast as possible to get on top of our opportunities. So right now, Infamy has offers Fantasy Fortnite and Apex Legends tournaments. And before originally it was just Fortnite. And so based on our current technological and development status, we were only do a certain set of variables. So I was like, oh, what can we do to take advantage of our current platform before we are able to move on to the next step? And that was an add-on to Apex. Luckily, I was been a big fan of that game since it came out. And so I kind of really dove into the competitive scene, learning who the players are, content creators, the analysts, the commentators for the tournaments, just getting to know the esports scene, and then being able to kind of do all that prep work before we were able to launch our first Apex tournament. And right now doing that for our next, hopefully, slate of game or titles where we can offer fantasy tournaments for, as well as just like thinking of different ways of how we can further expand our company once we're really able to get on.
Very cool. Okay, so you do a lot of the research, pulling the information, gathering the players and all that, and then you send it over to Darren, who's also the CTO, and he's got to figure out how to make it work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you make it work?
A lot of Excel spreadsheets and just testing. Jake is very good at finding the data points and identifying what makes games unique and what makes players and even plays very valuable. And it's my job to take that information and find a accurate formula that displays and creates the Infamy score, which is how we value each player.
Okay. Can you describe the Infamy score a little bit more, please?
Yeah, the Infamy score. So for Fortnite, we take in very simple stats because it's a VR. There aren't that many metrics. And like Jake said, technological limitations, we can only take in so many data points. So we take in kills, placements, depending on the game mode. So for our most recent trios tournament, we took in kills, top 6 placements, wins, top 3 placements, and then the amount of games played. And we calculate all those to generate an average score for the player over the tournament timeline. And once that's out, we do that for every player. And based on what your team is, so you have your own fantasy team of 4 players. And based on what your team is, we calculate your total Infamy score, and whoever has the highest score at the end of the tournament wins.
Very cool. Okay. And how's business going?
So business has been going great. Like I said, the guys and we've been doing this for 2 years, and we've started this with nothing. We've all done this, like we've taught ourselves the necessary skills. Like even our original Infamy website, Blake and we scrapped together and created a WordPress website that people could just sign up on and pick players. And from that, we were able to get investor to do an MVP product for us. And that MVP product got us in bed with our next development team, which is going to allow us to do even more, allow us to offer even more games. So it's been a step-by-step process. And one thing that I've learned from it is that the step that you're at now is setting you up for the next step, if that makes sense. So like, obviously when we were in the beginning and we had the WordPress website where you could only like, this isn't going to be what takes us to the next level. And then we got the MVP and it's like, this isn't what's going to take us to the next level. And hopefully our next development team is what takes us to the next level, but you never know with technology. So,
sure. And Jake, the typical interview question, where's this going to go in the next 5 years? Because if you guys just keep growing and you're able to get those things into place, where's the goal? What are you shooting for?
So I'd say 5 years. Oh gosh.
It's an eternity in video games, right?
Yeah, like that's like in 2 lifetimes almost. But hopefully, we, the 4 of us, legitimately think that fantasy esports is going to really just like kind of grow at an exponential rate along with just esports in general and gaming, and that hopefully that Infamy will become like the kind of like a pillar within the gaming and esports community that's kind of like reputable. I think that's like super important, along with like you think of like Discord as like a communications and interaction when you play games, Steam and like the Epic Store as like the marketplaces, and Twitch is like the main place you go to like watch esports and just like streamers. We want Infamy to become like synonymous with fantasy esports, essentially. So that's where we ultimately would like it to end up.
Beautiful. Okay, now Darren, building any business, it's not just that nice, smooth, steady slope up, right? It comes with all kinds of bumps and challenges and pitfalls and random alligators like, I got to jump over. What are some of the challenges you guys have faced?
The main challenge has been development, believe it or not. Everything else has been easy. Like the guys and I just want to say we have a great team. Everyone always rises to the occasion. Like we reach out to people, we get information, we receive feedback, and everyone acts on that feedback. If you don't know it, you learn it and then you act on it. So I want to just give a shout out to the team for that. But sorry, what was the original question?
What are some of the challenges you're facing?
The challenges. Yeah, sorry, I forgot where I was going with that. But yeah, the challenges, it has to be technology. It's in the past 2 years, it's been more, we are limited by what we can do, not by opportunities being presented to ourselves. So we get these great opportunities and it's like, well, we can only do 25% of that, 30% of that, 50% of that. But we do have the opportunities, which is just great on its own. So people are realizing and seeing the potential of our platform. It's just getting our platform up to par.
For sure. Okay. Now, nobody goes into business, guys, just necessarily for the fun of it. At some point, it has to kick something back to you. So are you guys profitable yet?
No, we're still in the MVP development phase. So we're not profitable. Everything is grassroots and out of our own pockets.
Okay. What's continuing to keep you guys with that drive then? Because you've been doing this for 2 years. And like, I've been an entrepreneur for like 8 years now. I understand how it goes, right? There's ups, there's downs. What's pushing you through? Or pulling you through, depending on it.
Opportunities and rising to the occasion. Like we hit a benchmark and then we're like, okay, now what? And we reach out, do our due diligence, do our research, find the next game, find the next person who will help us get into contact with someone who will elevate us to that next level. And we've just been getting so many opportunities that it doesn't even feel like it's been 2 years, to be completely honest.
It also helps that we just I don't know. It doesn't feel like work for the most part, just like researching and learning about different scenes and just esports as a whole. There are the times like when we're entering in like stats and stuff that can be quite tedious, just like, crunching the numbers. Essentially, that definitely, like, you might, might be opening up a bottle of wine or something to get through that. But luckily, it hasn't been like hair pulling yet.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't lived until you've entered in 4 hours worth of player data in an Excel spreadsheet.
That sounds thrilling. Okay, both of you, you've been at this for 2 years. If you could go back in time, like we all hopped into a time machine together, and there's little Darren and little Jake sitting around a table or across the internet, or however you guys did your communications, and you could go up to your past selves and you could tell each other or tell yourself, the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, and everything you needed to know in order to just expedite everything, make it go all faster, avoid all those pitfalls. But there was one thing, that person absolutely had to know back then in order to make it bigger, better, faster. What would you tell yourself?
That anyone who tells you technology is not a problem, they're lying to you. That is the biggest thing.
And Jake?
Oh man, I'd say to it is like an analogy like my mom kind of told me, but at the time she spoke it to me, it just went over my head, didn't really acknowledge it. But like, if you're teaching like a kindergartner, you need to kind of explain it as if you're talking to a preschooler. Just like, even if like you think these are your instructions or what's expected of people is like very clear cut. It's like, there's no way that this is misunderstood or there's things left out. It's better to just take the extra 5-10 minutes in a meeting to make sure every bullet point is nailed down and be like, all right, everyone's on the same page. Like, no, this is what needs to be done on both ends, and just kind of keeping people accountable. I think a lot of problems and just gaps between major benchmarks that we've reached could have been cut in half if we just we're just on top of kind of more management side of things a little bit better.
Okay, very cool. Now, did you all know each other before you started this 2 years ago?
So Steve and Blake and I knew each other, and then Steve went to Emerson, and then that's how we met Jake, and then Blake and I became friends with Jake through playing games with Steve.
Okay, cool. Now, how did you guys figure out what your roles were going to be? Like, did you naturally follow into that CEO position, Darren? Because you are kind of a talker.
CEO/CTO, mainly because I understand like the technology the most, and it's the main talking point between developers, and on meetings I'd be able to explain the product and what we wanted from the product in the early stages. So I took that role. Jake is very good at doing esports research and just knowing games. You ask him about any esport,
I wouldn't say any esport. There's a few that I'll just say that haven't piqued my interest or just haven't learned, but the kind of more analytical side that kind of drew me in was like when I was younger, I was like just knew every minute detail about like these obscure metal bands from across the globe. Like I would know who used to be in what band, when, like this band's on this tour with this band, and then they're going on to this other tour. These bands don't tour together because of X reason. Like I was just like, so I followed all these like forums and like really dove deep into like the nitty-gritty details of like this metal and hardcore scene, and like just kind of use that kind of like skill set that I made when I was like 12 to like 14 to kind of transfer it over into esports. So luckily it's been working out.
Beautiful. Okay.
Yeah, and oh, sorry.
No, please go ahead.
Yeah. With my job also, I did a lot of data analytics work, and that's how I got so profound at Excel and learned a lot. And I've always been interested in big numbers. That's why I went to school for computer science and data, and just finding out the stats on like some of my favorite Fortnite players and just like understanding the game better and why they perform so well and what it takes to perform well. That's what intrigues me the most about my position.
I love it. Okay, now guys, I tell my daughter every single day, teamwork makes the dream work. And how important was this to this project, the fact that you had so many different people able to work on different elements? Or did you find it was like some people were kind of in the way, or like how is that working?
I think it is a blessing that everyone on our team is capable, because there have been those stories that we've heard, like nightmare stories, don't work with your friends, because some people may slack off. But like I said multiple times already, everyone rises to the occasion whenever something needs to get done, whether it's learning Photoshop, learning how to video edit, learning how to do Excel spreadsheets. We have like our roles, but no one really is a defined role, because like we all work full-time jobs. So like if I can't do something, someone else will step up, or if Jake can't do something, I'll step up. It's no one has a holier than thou attitude where it's like I'm too good to do anything. Everyone works together very well.
Yeah, I'm gonna go off that. I think something that's important is that we're all also not afraid to call one another out if like they're slacking, or if like something's just wrong. It's like, no, I'm like one of us like, oh no, Darren, you're just like wrong, and this is why. And like we won't like get personal. It's like we won't like there's that line where like there's like talking smack and then like crossing the line. Like we're always pretty good at like being friendly and cordial, but also like, hey, no, you're messing up. And I think that just we kind of developed that just like playing games together, because we're always just trash talking each other nonstop. So it's just like a natural fit. It's like we're not gonna be toxic to you, but
has anybody
if you
gone
mess
too
up,
far?
yeah. So has
anybody like said something that was a little mean, or like has it just been completely cordial the whole time?
A little mean is like
well, you know what I mean. There's a difference between hating on somebody and then like hating on somebody.
We hate on each other pretty hard. Like Jake's really underselling it. So like something that is like a little mean might be catastrophic to someone else. So, but no, lines haven't been crossed.
Okay.
Yeah. Luckily.
Very cool. Okay. Now, what to kind of like to bring this in for a landing, because we've actually already been going for nearly half an hour here. I know, right? The time flew. I looked down. I'm like, oh, geez.
You must be having fun.
What is, and I want each of you to answer this, and we'll have Jake start first, but
okay.
What is something that you personally are working to improve on yourself today?
I'd say time management and a commitment to that time management. It's like everyone like I feel like everyone's gone through like, oh man, if I just did, if I just cut off an hour of like this TV watching, or if I just got off solo queuing for an extra hour and maybe put it to something else, like where would I be like 2 months down the road with like doing that? Like I always like start off doing that with like something like, oh, I want to pick up playing piano again or whatnot, and be like, I might do that for a few weeks and then slowly go back to the same kind of just like slacking off essentially. So I guess like kind of sticking, at least trying to stick to like a more, not say rigid, but like more, I want to be like more committed to the like some other aspects of or hobbies, and be like, all right, no, I'm going to cut myself off on this and actually really hunker down and work on something else.
Okay, wonderful. And Darren, yourself?
Yeah, I would have to give it to procrastination and being more open about things. Like I am very reserved, and I'm not the type of person to like ask for help. Like if I need help on something, I'll just like get it done myself. I've just always been like that my whole life, like throughout school, like can't trust partners, some bad experiences with group projects. So I just like carry that, and like I've been like talking up these guys, and like I'll still like if I have something and like I know it's gonna take me, like if I'm doing stats for like 4 hours, I'll still like do it myself. So I guess I can work on like asking for help when I need it to like alleviate myself of some stress, but I probably won't, because it's just who I am at this point.
Darren, Jake, this has been a fantastic interview. I'm glad we were able to pull off the two guest interview.
Yes.
How do people find Infamy Fantasy Esports? Where do they go? Where is it on social? All that, please.
You can find us on our website, infamy.gg, or www.infamyfantasyesports.com, on Instagram, infamy.gg, and then on Twitter, Infamy Esports.
Okay, beautiful. And as we wrap this up, do you have any final thoughts you want to share? Anything I didn't ask you think we still need to cover?
Final thoughts? I hope we didn't botch your show by having both of us on.
No, this was fun. It was different. I like spicing things up, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much, Darren and Jake. I genuinely do appreciate both of you coming on with me today.
Appreciate you having us. It was very fun.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And for everybody else, I'm going to remind you all, don't be just a gamer, be a gamerpreneur.